are supporting him, bringing big fights here, Las Vegas, where Russia, there's massive opportunities for him there. So it's been an amazing turnaround, because honestly, like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I didn't know where these big opportunities would come from.
Dmitry, how realistic is it for you to make 168? This talk about getting Canelo for the undisputed down there. Is that something you really think you could do, or is it a case of you're the champion at light heavyweight, people have got to come up to you?
When I was amateur, I was fight first of all against my weight and 75 kilos, and second against my opponent. And I decided that I don't want to make weight. But in the pro, I work with some nutritions, and I learned how to make weight easy. And before this fight, I had a dinner, before this weight in, I had a dinner, I had a small breakfast, and then I came to the scale and showed my weight. I think we could talk about it, of course, I told it before, we could. It's not my prefer, but we could.
And also there is a chance that Canelo might say no. He might say, I don't want to, I lost at 175. I want to. So look,
if he does,
Eddie Heard chilling.
But Serbiev's busy. You mentioned the Craig Richards fight there, like for small money. But obviously there are people like Callum Smith, Josh.
What's good, family? It's your man, the YB, back once again. Oh my God, Eddie Hearn shamelessly shilling and jumping in to protect Canelo Alvarez. This guy's got no shame. Now, after the first Bivol fight versus Canelo, I was probably the only person coming out trying to pass Bivol the game. If Bivol and his team were smart, they should be out. In fact, even now, but at the time in particular, I said Team Bivol should be out here posting messages every day, trolling Canelo, telling him, listen, Carrot Top, yeah, I popped your cherry. I popped your prime peak cherry. Something no one's ever done. Most people said, listen, Floyd beat Canelo when he was young. No one has pulled up and punked prime peak Canelo. Yeah, and I popped your prime peak cherry. So if you want it back, don't go running off to fight old Lovkin. Come get it back. And by the way, I'll be doing it at 168. I don't want no excuses. Bearing in mind, Canelo came out after the fight and said, he winning, man, he winning, You're talking about the weight and all this other stuff. Bivol should have been out there sticking it on. Guess what? We ain't heard nothing from Bivol. We ain't heard a peep from Bivol. And now, again, the interviewer says, because listen, there's a reason interviewers for the most part, yeah, they're low IQ. So for them to make a question, it's worth something, do you understand? For an interviewer to be saying, Bivol, why are you not campaigning for 168? I understand you're comfortable at 175, but Canelo has all the belts at 168. We're not asking for you to go for a run down there and have 10 fights. We're talking one fight and you can lock up that whole... I mean, think about legacy here. I'm actually someone, yeah, who believes Bivol wants legacy. I do believe that. He's not a pure money chaser, and in fact, he's proven that from his actions. A money chaser would have been sticking it all on Canelo, begging to get the rematch. Bivol really hasn't done any campaigning for the rematch, and that's easy money. That said, I'm thinking about legacy here for Bivol. Bivol's biggest legacy move. Listen, Beterbiev, yeah, he ain't going nowhere. In fact, Beterbiev's busy himself with Anthony Yard. So it's not even like, well, Bivol fighting Canelo at 168, Beterbiev's not going to be ready until more or less 9 months, best part of a year from now. So the point is, why would you not, Bivol, in terms of legacy, Bivol fighting Canelo at 175 does zip for Bivol's legacy. Okay, you beat a small dude. Who cares about that? You beat a small dude with no belts who more or less is unproven at 175. That don't do nothing. What does do something exponentially? Imagine Bivol fighting Canelo at 168 and beating him there and taking all of his belts. Think of all of the souls and all of the clout Canelo's collected at 168. Most people don't base what Canelo's done at 160 as his great thing. Canelo's greatness really has come recently from the plays at 168. 160, what's he really done? He fought Triple G twice, you know what I mean, close fights or whatever. Canelo's greatness has been established by knocking out Billy Joe, knocking out Plant. Really, that's where it came from, if I'm honest. You can go down there and take all that is done from him. You can do what Golovkin couldn't. Golovkin couldn't even come close to beating Canelo at 168. You can do that. By miles. Yeah? People think Golovkin's a top guy, and I think he's alright, but I'm saying that, think about how close, the Golovkin and Triple G fight was. All three of them, really, in that sense. Particularly the second one. Bivol can be the guy to go to 168 and school Canelo and wipe the floor with him. Something no one's even come close to. How valuable is that for legacy? I'm the man who you know what I mean? When people talk about boxing, they say Canelo's number one pound for pound. At 170, Bivol beating Canelo, at 175, no one care about that. I'm going to be honest. Too many excuses, too many built-ins. Oh, he's the bigger guy. Why would you not be saying, okay, I'm going down, I'm making it my business to go down to 168 and take your shit from you? By doing that, Bivol single-handedly invalidates anything Canelo's ever done. It might sound quite sad, but that's how the sport game works. When you beat someone who's been undefeated, essentially, you just take their souls. That's how it works. And guess what? If Beterbiev ends up beating Bivol, then he takes his souls. That's how the game works. But I'm baffled why Bivol isn't... What isn't clicking here? Bivol seems not bothered either way. My issue is... Canelo, I mean, you just heard from Eddie Hearn chilling. Oh, well, Canelo might not want it. Oh, Canelo wants to do it at 175. Listen, Eddie, with all due respect, Bivol's the winner. Yeah? That said, I understand that contractually, negotiations go with the A side and the name as such, but that's why it's so important, or it's been so important, for Bivol to be publicly campaigning. Why? Because the public, or public pressure, is the great equalizer. Yeah? Hence, if Bivol comes out campaigning and embarrassing and punking Canelo, if I was Bivol, I'd be paying someone to put videos together. There's loads of videos out there of Canelo complaining about the weight being too big. Hey Canelo, no problem. You moaned about the weight. I don't want no excuses. I don't want you having a built-in excuse. I beat you the first time. You came to my weight. I'm going to do you the favour and come down to your weight. That's what Team Bivol should be doing every day, or every other day, or once a week. Consistently putting content out, in educating the public that you want this fight at 168. And if Canelo doesn't want to fight at 168, why doesn't he? He said the weight was an issue, no problem. I'll come down to you. And we'll fight for the belts. We'll fight where it matters. Because Canelo has no risk at 175. He has the built-in excuse. Oh, well, it wasn't my weight division. And by the way, Canelo's actually used some of them excuses. Why would you give him that out for? I don't understand it. Eddie Hearn, okay, listen, I understand why Eddie Hearn doesn't want to do that. Because Eddie Hearn knows, well, if he loses at 175, no problem. Bivol can literally extinguish that fire, that flame that is Canelo. I don't know why he isn't all over that. Why isn't his... If I was Bivol's team, I'd be excited as a fan. For me, Bivol versus Canelo, that has no intrigue at 175 whatsoever. At 168, everything's on the table then, isn't it? There's no excuses. There's an argument Bivol will be weight drained, so that might even things up. Yeah? Canelo's at his prime, peak weight. Why would you not want that competitively as well? In my mind, especially after the Ramirez fight, I'll be shocked if Canelo wins more than 2 rounds in a rematch at 175. At 168, I still think Bivol wins, but at least, you know what I'm saying, it's more, exponentially more intriguing. Now, I understand why Canelo and Eddie Hearn don't want it there, but again, that's why it's so important for Team Bivol to be representing their part of things. Bivol's too laid back. Bivol to me seems like someone who's not bothered. He's not bothered about 168, he's not bothered about 175, and that's great. Well, it's good for you, but that's not helping your career in that sense. In my opinion, yeah, if Canelo even takes this fight, there's no way Canelo's gonna say or offer 168. There's absolutely no way. So if you don't push for it, it will be 175. Now I understand. Well, it appears to me Bivol's kind of like, okay, fine, no worries, but I can't fathom. I wish an interviewer would say, why are you not pushing for 168? What about the legacy? You could potentially become double undisputed. Fight Canelo at 168, take his belts, and then within 6 months, you can beat Beterbiev, and literally, in a 5-month period, you can be undisputed. Sorry, you can be double undisputed. Most people don't. Undisputed's rare. You'd be the first fighter in history ever to not only be 3-belt or 2-belt undisputed, but 4-belt undisputed in a 5-month period. Who can say that? No one can. That's the most rare play ever. I mean, normally it takes the stars to align to become undisputed in one division. Bivol has the chance here to literally do something that will probably never be done again. Double undisputed. For it to happen, you need someone with all the belts, and you need someone with 3 belts. Most people never get all the belts. Never mind 2 divisions which are highly concentrated. Bivol's that guy. The stars have aligned, and yet we're talking about a once in 100-year opportunity here. I mean, as far as I'm aware, even in the 2-belt era, or even in the 3-belt era, there wasn't someone who jumped up and was double undisputed. So why is Team Bivol not on this like Donkey Kong? If I was Bivol, I would have had a whole speech. Bear in mind, people, yeah? Immediately after a win, that's when your brand obviously has the most exposure. I wonder about who's managing the strategic direction of these fighters, man. If I was Bivol, I'd have had a whole plan. If I was working with Bivol, I'd have had a whole plan. Boom. When we win this fight, we're going to leverage. We know, listen, a month later, no one cares. Your biggest exposure is in the ring after the fight on the microphone. If I was managing Bivol, if I was involved in managing PR for Bivol, on that mic, immediately after, Canelo, I've just whooped on your big burly looking ass country mate. I want you at 168. Stop running. Stop making excuses about 175. I don't want to fight at 175 where you can complain about the weight. I want you at 168 for all the belts. I want you where you're comfortable. Yeah? I like my females super duper comfortable before I beat them 100%. When I say beat, I mean walk. Yeah? Bivol should be saying, listen, I like my females to be nice and comfortable before I give them the walking. Yeah, 100%. That's what Bivol should be saying. Instead, he come out, just weak, man. Weak. Piss me off. There's so much potential and opportunity here for Bivol, but his team have close to 0 IQ. Honestly, I'm baffled. I don't know what these guys are doing. These multi-million-dollar management teams, they don't add no value. They don't. They have no strategic value and no value at all. Most of these teams actually end up costing their athletes money. Like, Bivol should have been out there campaigning for this Canelo fight after the first one. Why? That's a free bag. Instead, literally, Bivol had the biggest win in boxing. Let's not forget, yeah, most people conveniently forget this. Canelo was like a 7-1 favourite going into that fight. This was a huge upset. What did Bivol do? We didn't even hear from Bivol. Within literally, The day after the press conference, we ain't hear again from Bivol until last month with this fight. What the fuck? What's that about? And that enabled Canelo to sneak off and fight Triple G. People forget, but the only reason Canelo rematched Golovkin after the first fight, Canelo didn't really want that fight, the rematch. The key reason he rematched Golovkin was because Golovkin was smart, and came out and started trolling Canelo. Canelo scared, Canelo knows I won, etc, etc. That literally is what caused the second fight. Canelo was pissed off, Canelo's got a big ego, and he wanted to prove what it was. Now, that playbook hasn't even been used a bit. I understand Bivol seems to me quite loosey-goosey and laid back. That's cool, but come on, man. I'm talking about the sport here. I'm talking about legacy. Why is Bivol's team not desperate to see him try to become double undisputed? This won't happen again, people. What are the chances of 2 weight divisions being like this? Bivol's the only guy who's able to do it as well. Most people like Beterbiev, he's too big. He can't go to 168. Please, man, someone. And the problem is, you see, Eddie Hearns. And what frustrates me the most is the fact that people aren't even mentioning this. I haven't heard one news reporter say, Bivol, have you thought about becoming double undisputed? All you've got to do is push for or demand the 168 fight. And then, immediately after that, Beterbiev's going to be free, assuming he beats Anthony Yard, and you can go up and straight and do that. In that period, most belts can't strip you for a year. So you beat Canelo, all you've got to do is fight Beterbiev, and you're going to be double undisputed, assuming you beat Beterbiev. Why has no radio guy put this question to him? Better yet, why hasn't his team thought of this? Now, fair enough, if Bivol comes out and says, I can't make 168, that's why it can't happen, that's different. But the fact he's saying, yeah, it could work, what the fuck? What do you mean it could work? You could become, well, either way, you would become. Bivol, by fighting Canelo at 168, would become the first ever double undisputed challenger. Yeah, the first ever one. You'll be the first man ever to have the opportunity to fight for two undisputed championships. Beat Canelo, and then you get to play for all the beans against Beterbiev. 8 belts. Wow. Why is no one... That's huge, I think. Yeah, I haven't heard no one mention it. It pissed me off. It really does piss me off. Such a waste of opportunity. But anyway, any reporters out there, man, you should be on this. Anyway, smash the like button, subscribe, and your boy will be back.